I'm looking at another Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're starting us with fauna. I feel like we had that recently as a starting word, but I don't know. Let's do something with like an AU, maybe something like that. What would be good though? Well, fraud would be good, appropriate for this puzzle, but I can't do the F and the A. Huh. So, maybe how about we do an something? Uncap. Oh, we can't do the double A. We can't do the A at all, actually, if we're doing the N. It's not a double A. We can't do the A. Unrip? That's a word, apparently. Okay. Well, one of the U's is a lie, so there's definitely no N. I mean, it seems like there's probably no U. It's probably just no U and all new letters. We need to have an R, I, or P though at this point, even if there's no U. Let's do still. I'm gonna go a little bit different plan. I usually try and repeat the yellows and greens, but I'm gonna go this way. Okay. Well, we didn't get the wrong coloring on the L's, but at least we're getting somewhere. All right, now let's go with the I and the L, and let's do a double L would be great. But then we still need the I. Ill something. The problem is the double L needs to be. No, the other L could be at the end. Yeah, we could do ILL. We could do something like that. Or, well, you can do flail, except that doesn't work with fauna. What if we did? Yeah, libel. There we go, with the LI at the beginning. Okay. Wow, we didn't get any contradictions. So, let's go IL. Is an E at the end? Could we do that? We still need an S or a T though. So, could we do an S or a T at the beginning? Like Silge. I don't think that's a thing. Or a T. A tilde. Yeah. Okay. Well, one of these I's is a lie. So there's definitely an E, there's definitely an L. And what else do we know? If the E were the lie, you'd have to have a D. It would have to be DIL, and you'd have to have yeah, you'd have to have an S. It would have to be this, which doesn't work. So the I and the L, the E can't be the lie, is what I'm saying. So we know that there is an E. And if the E were the lie because it was green, it wouldn't work. So that's got to be true. All right, what if the D is the lie? The problem is if we do the green I, that makes it the lie here. So the E would have to be at the beginning. EIL, and then you'd have to have a D at the end. That's not going to work either. I don't think the green I can be true, actually. I think that's the lie. Okay, which then means what? What does that tell us? There might not even be an I. If there's not an I, then we need a U, R, or P. We've got a D and an E. We could do ED, in which case the yellow I and libel would be true. IED? And we'd have to have an L. The L would have to be, it would have to be LIED. Oh no, the green L is true. Oh, we've got the L true. LED. But then the E in libel is the lie, so the yellow I is true. So you'd have to have an I. It would have to be this, and you'd still need an S or a T. It would have to be an S. ISLED? I don't. Oh, that is okay. I didn't know Isle, like it has islands, like Isle, like that kind of thing. Okay, well, that was possible. Unlikely, but possible. So, all right, let's say could the E be, could it be this? No, because well, no, the L is the lie. The L is the lie. We don't even need to do that. The L is the lie. There we go. Okay, we got all that. There's no S. There's a green I, which means this is true unless you have two I's in a row, and we know there's the I isn't third, so that's true. This is a lie. So there's no U, so that's a lie. There is an L, so that's true. Okay, so we've got I. Oh, and it's got to be I. Wait, IEL. Uh-oh. Oh no, I did something wrong. Oh no. I did something wrong. Yeah, because not only do we get this, but this is then true, which means you have to have a B or a second L. Oh shoot. How did I mess up this badly? All right. Let's just clear everything. Oh no. I really messed up. Okay, so that all kind of started because I said we couldn't have the I second. If the I is second, then this is a lie. These are all true. And that's a problem. Why? Oh, I think I messed up there. I think I said, I don't know what I said. All right. Well, we know one of these is a lie, the I's. So there is an L and there is an E. Okay, we know that for sure. There is an L and there is an E. If the E is at the end, then we get this and the D at the beginning. And that's not going to work because the I and the D would both be lies and IL'd. So we can't do that. So this E has to be true. If the D is the lie, right? Because we said we couldn't do an E at the end, so it can't be the lie because we know there is an E. Okay, if the D is the lie, the I and L are true. It's not going to be EIL, so it would have to be ILE, which would make this the lie. But that would make this true. If the green I is true, then this is the lie, and you have to have E at the beginning. So that's not going to work either. So this can't be the lie. Well, it could be the... Yeah, it can't be the lie. It can't even be the lie because it's supposed to be gray, because then you have IL. It has to be EIL then. I don't think that's going to work. So I don't think that can be a lie, which means it's true, which means there is a D. Which we know there's a D because one of these two L's is a lie. So there's definitely a D. And there's definitely an I. And these aren't both going to be true. So actually, one of these is a lie, and one of these is a lie. So everything else on those rows is true. So the D at the end is true. And there's either an I at the beginning or an I second. If the I is second, then the green L is the lie. ELD? Field? No, not field. Yield. Ah, man, I haven't made a mistake that bad in a while where I had like the whole grid marked and it was wrong. Oh, I don't know how I got the I had to be little. I don't know. All right, well, I made a little bit of a mess of it, but we got there in the end. So let me know how your solve went today. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.